Yae Miko or Raiden Shogun? Now, many of you have been asking that question, and so I have put myself to intensively test Yae Miko out since her release so that I can get as much of a complete picture of Yae Miko to make a good guide for you. In this video, we'll dive in depth into all of the pros and cons of Yae and Raiden and give my personal advice in terms of which would be the best suitable for your account to help you make the best decision. Now, before we hop into the video, I just want to congratulate on the 3 winners in our recent Discord Valentine's event on sending in the best pet pictures. As promised, the best picture will be on my video, so here they are. Thank you for the amazing lovely pet picture you guys have sent in, and hopefully you've had an amazing Valentine's Day with your pet. Now guys, I usually hold a lot of events and giveaway on my Discord server. The biggest upcoming one will be on Yae Miko or Ayato giveaway once the channel hits 10,000 subs. So if you're not a part of our community yet, be sure to subscribe and join the Discord server to have a chance to win either Yae Miko or maybe Ayato in our next giveaway. Let us dive into today's video. So as you've known, Raiden Shogun is our Electro Archon whose role is technically a sub DPS, but then she turns out to feel more of a DPS because of her burst requires her to be on field for at least 7 seconds in order to yield the maximum damage. Along with that, she has up to 100% uptime E-skill that help apply very consistent electro status, making reaction teams or superconduct very easy. Aside from DPS capability, she also has access to very good support skill regarding burst damage bonus, which is basically the only character in the game till now that helps you with that, and energy recharge for the whole team, making her one of the most preferable character to use when building any team, especially in the Abyss. Yae Miko, she's our lovely new release character that we have just tested out, so her true potential might still be out there, plus we have yet to be able to level up her talent all the way to crown level, so most analysis are still underway. However, her kits from the HOYO standpoint are preferred to be an off-field damage dealer from her E-skill, as well as having access to very high burst damage. Her E-skills are also technically 100% uptime because it's only 4-second cooldown with 14-second uptime, plus you get the ability to reset her E-skills after her burst, allowing her to be also able to apply electro status very consistently. Now, when talking about making decision between two characters, there is something that you have to be able to answer. Is that which type of players are you? And that's actually the biggest answer and the key to your decision making. Now, there are technically 2 types, which is casual, where you just play the game for fun and don't really care too much about min-maxing your damage, and the other is meta player, which is you maximizing your damage and trying your best to clear the Abyss and so on endgame content. There are many names for this type, but I'll just call it as meta players. Now, if you're a casual player, then you'll be focusing more on how the character plays, their playstyle, attack animations, and to see if you actually enjoy the characters and so on. In which you should be asking yourself questions like these. Do you see yourself using the character long term in different teams of yours? Or do you enjoy playing their skills and talent gameplay? In which, in Raiden's case, she's one of the only character aside from Child who has access to 2 types of weapon animation, the polearm and the sword animation, and oh my god, it feels amazing when you use her. Polearm animation looks really good already, but during her burst, her sword animation feels absolutely insane to use. Generally, it feels really smooth, however, the charge attack animation in her burst just feels like a finisher blow at some times. So you might want to hold back from spamming it too much because you don't want to do that during a combo as it is very slow. As for Yae Miko, her gameplay is also very unique. I know that every character is unique in terms of how the skill looks, but what I'm referring to here is the gameplay of Yae Miko, especially with her E-skill setting up the turrets, because it requires you to have her own on-field time and spends a bit of time setting them up as well. Unlike the other off-field support where you just go in, click one button to set up and then switch out, Yae will have to stay on for at least 3 times. However, you can use this to dodge opponent attack as well for whenever you're out of stamina, for example, so she feels really good to play once you've got her rhythm. And she even shows her foxtails after this, and she looks so damn cute with that. And so those are some of the things that casual players can look out for without needing worry too much about how the character damage will perform. Because if you didn't know, all Genshin Impact character will do well if you invest into them. Therefore, as long as you enjoy playing the character, it's all that's going to be matters, because you can can just invest into them with all the resources that you will have and they will still do decently very good numbers. Now that's for the casuals. As for the meta players, where we look into the nitty-gritty of how these two characters are going to perform, in which we'll look in depth into the pros and cons of Raiden and Yae. First is Raiden's pros, in that she's literally one of the top tier electro character in the game because of how good of a damage her burst is going to be able to deal. Not only that, her burst damage has access to AoE damage as well, which is one of the most important things for a DPS character. She's also one of the best electro star supplier due to her 100% uptime E skills, and moreover than that, it helps your team with very consistent off-field damage over time. Now Raiden Shogun is very free to play friendly, the major factor being she has access to the catch, which is a free to play weapon that is disguised as a 5-star because it has amazing secondary stats of energy recharge, which Raiden's needs with very good passive, and not only that, you get it up to R5. Furthermore, she's already very good at C0, you don't need to invest into any of her constellation to be good, and her best in slot artifact is the Emblem Fate, which is one of the most efficient sets or domain that you can farm in the game, as it goes with the Shiminawa set, and two of these sets are very widely used by many characters in the game. On top of her DPS capability, she also has access to very good support, mainly being her burst damage increase for your team, as well as providing your team a huge energy recharge boost during her burst, therefore fitting in so many team comp, especially the national team or the superconduct team when running with Eula. And even though her burst energy cost is one of the highest in the game of 90 energy burst cost, but that doesn't pose too much of an energy issue for Raiden because her own kits has already support her on that. Plus, since she run with the Emblem Fate set, then she also very favors energy recharge. And then finally, I've already said that you don't really need any constellation on Raiden to do good, but if you want to, her constellation is also one of the best in the game, because if you invest her up to C2, then her damage increase is already approximately 35 to 40% increase from her C0. Now onto some of Raiden Shogun's cons, is that she is a very burst dependent character, because most if not all of her damage will be during her burst. Therefore again, even though we are building quite a bit of energy recharge onto Raiden, you do really want to have her burst 100% uptime to make the most out of her DPS potential. On top of that, her burst infusion is quite short of only 7 seconds, and there's an up to 18 seconds cooldown. And since she is an electro character, she can't work well with melt or vaporized team comp because she can't benefit on that. Therefore a lot of the time her damage is more or less dependent on only electro damage itself. And finally, she requires herself to be with some of the best support character like Bennett and Kazuha to take her damage to the next level. Now moving on to Yae's pros. She's a good off-field damage support from her turrets, and it can deal quite a lot of damage as well if you build a bit of elemental mastery onto Yae due to her second passive talent. She also have access to very high burst damage output due to her burst scaling is very high. Her E skills is also technically 100% uptime, and it also has very good range of attack. Therefore enemies that are far away from the turrets can still be hit. And so due to that, she is also very good with electro application for teams with overload or especially superconduct. Yae Miko is rather easy to build because she has access to quite some good artifact options, namely 2-piece Thundering Fury, 2-piece Glad, or 2-piece Thundering Fury, 2-piece Wanderer for a little bit of EM, or if you want you can go with 4-piece Thunder Soother. But also she works exceptionally well with the 4-piece Emblem because it supports her with energy recharge from her high energy burst cost, and it gives her more burst damage as well. She also has access to a full support build if you want of the 4-piece Tenacity and running with Thrilling Tales. For Yae Miko's cons, her main issue is that she has a very high burst cost of 90, but unlike Raiden Shogun where her kits would support her, Yae Miko's kit do not support any of her burst energy cost. Her E skill energy regen is also very slow, therefore she have huge energy issue especially at C0. You realize that you always need to have electro resonance plus energy recharge of at least 150% and above to have a bit of consistent burst uptime, and even then she still doesn't have burst up after one rotation attempt. That's why MiHoYo had her C1 has her energy cost fixed issue. Well done MiHoYo, you're doing a good job getting money from us. She's also quite a burst reliant character, because even though her turret can deal pretty decent damage, but not focusing on her burst damage, meaning that you're taking out half of her kit, as her burst damage has very good scaling. There's also a big issue with Yae Miko if you're focusing on speed running, which is that she takes up way too long to set up her E skill. It would take you at least 2 to 3 seconds to set her E skill up, but when you use her burst, you will have to set up your E skill once again, requiring Yae to be on field quite a lot before you're able to switch to a different character. And then finally, her kit actually feels a little bit similar to other characters like Fischl, who is a 4-star character, and even Raiden Shogun, because of how her E skill works and also with high burst damage. And so we've went through basically everything about Yae Miko and Raiden Shogun's pros and cons. Feel free to leave down in the comment section if you have anything else to add. Now here's going to be my personal recommendation in terms of which character you should go for at this point, considering that you can't go for both character of course. If you're a waifu over meta, which is a casual player, then it might say both Raiden and Yae Miko are really interesting character to get your hands on because their gameplay does feel unique and satisfying. Plus, they both got absolutely stunning burst animation. If you're on the fence and don't know which to go for, then I say just go with Raiden at this point because she's already on her reruns, so might not be back in some times. Yae, however, might be back sooner than we think. As for meta wise, I would definitely recommend you Raiden Shogun. She's on a clear win because of how good of an electro DPS she can be at C0, plus all the support capability that she gives to the team. Her best team, or one of the best team in the Abyss right now, is the Raiden Shogun national team, which is very free to play, therefore it is really easy to build her around. Yae Miko, don't get me wrong, I've been using her a lot and I actually love playing her more than Raiden Shogun at this point because I just love her playstyle and animation. But meta wise, she is not as good as Raiden Shogun because she doesn't bring anything too much to the team. If you're running Yae with Raiden for example, then Raiden is actually the one that buffed Yae Miko's kit plus energy restoration help. Yae's turret support can help you out, but it can also be replaced with Fischl's Oz. Only team support at this point is locked behind C4, which of course most of us will not ever get throughout our entire Genshin Impact lifetime. We do have heard that Yae Miko's artifact might be coming in the future. It's not confirmed in any way, but I would be interested to see how it buffs her more than she is right now as well. And so guys, that's going to be my saying on Raiden Shogun or Yae Miko at this point. I hope that it have been able to clear up some point for you guys. If you have enjoyed the video, then my channels do a lot of guides on characters, best team comp, and free to play advices, so be sure to subscribe for more. And don't forget that we'll be holding character giveaway at 10,000 subs, which is more of a reason for you to subscribe to get a chance to win. With that, I wish you a super day and I will catch you on the next video.